We are officially 8 weeks away from the 2026 Berlin Marathon, and as I've started to ramp up my training, I wanted to share a really big update with you guys, which is that after having been self-coached for my past 6 marathons, I have decided to hire a professional running coach to help me with my marathon training. So in today's video, I'm going to go over exactly what was behind this decision and share some tips that I've learned so far that you can apply to your running today, whether you work with a coach or not. And if you're new here, welcome. My name is Juliana, and I started this YouTube channel to showcase how I balance marathon training with everything in my life, from growing my small sugar-free granola startup to working a full-time 9-to-5 corporate job and everything else in between. So if you're interested in following along with my journey, make sure to hit that bell button down below and subscribe to the channel. So without further ado, let's hop into the video. Okay, so before I dive into my key takeaways so far working with my coach, I wanted to share why I decided to even hire a coach in the first place. So first and foremost, I've just had so much going on with my work, my full-time job, growing Juju's foods, which I will do a whole other video dedicated to that very topic to kind of share the reality and the not so glamorous behind the scenes of what things have been like trying to grow my startup while balancing all of these other things, because it's definitely been really, really hard. So I felt like my running wasn't really getting the attention that it deserved. I was just spending a lot of time questioning my training, questioning whether I was doing the right things with my workouts, but I also have a hard time balancing whether I'm doing enough or not in really all areas of my life, not running alone. So I just really wanted someone that could kind of oversee what I was doing, give me a recommendation, and just give me a plan that I could follow with trust, because I just felt like I was spending a lot of time second guessing myself. And then the other reason is that I had also been doing a lot of similar training for a while. And while I have definitely gotten faster and my fitness has improved, and I've become a much stronger runner doing what I've been doing, I just feel like maybe there are some key aspects of my training that could be optimized, or I just need a little bit more guidance during specific periods like the taper, which I feel like I sometimes historically mess up. And so I know that I'm definitely very, very lucky to be able to hire a coach and work with someone one-on-one. And it's been amazing so far, but I do think that there are a lot of key things that I've learned that have been so immensely valuable that I would love to share with you guys that you can apply to your running, whether you work with a coach or not. So I would say that the most valuable thing that I have learned so far is to be open to feedback about running and feedback about your training. So I was a solo runner for many, many years, and in many ways I still am. But having a community of people here in Florida that I've been able to meet and running friends that I've been able to make has been very, very helpful, not just for life and social reasons, but also because one of the many topics that we talk about when we're running is training. And it's always wonderful to be able to bounce ideas back and forth about training and what one person is doing versus another, and kind of just understand what training plans that they're looking at, and be open to gathering feedback on your own running and how you've applied some training plans or training theories, and maybe tweak it based on people who have other running experience, what they can offer back to you. And I would say if you don't have a running community or people that you run with, I know it's very hard. It was hard for me to make that jump and go from running by myself to running with a group. And even now I don't run with the group as much as I would like, because I usually like to sleep in on the weekends and they meet very, very early. But there are online communities that you can leverage. Like there are a lot on Reddit, like the running community. There's the advanced running community. Also here on the YouTube channel, I really want to start opening up the community more to have conversations and discussions about training and things that you guys are doing in practice, or if you want to get feedback from others, like please drop those comments in my videos down below. I try to get back to every single one of you as I can while my channel is still small and growing. So let me know, because I would love to be able to help you see your training through another lens, even though I'm not a certified coach. So I do need to give that disclaimer. But I do think that ultimately the point is that being open to feedback on what you're doing in training, what you're doing day to day, can be really helpful to see a different perspective. Think about maybe shifting some aspects of your running that you might not have thought to shift, and kind of go from there and see what happens. Okay, so the next most valuable lesson that I've learned so far has to do with setting aside time to review your training on a weekly basis. So how I do this with my coach is that we have a 30-minute call once a week to just talk about my training, my workouts, what went well, what didn't, and kind of adjust my training from there. And I think that even if you don't have a coach, this can be a really valuable practice to do just once a week, where you sit down, you can look at your training log, just go over the past week and be honest with yourself about what things were hard, what things were easy that you maybe could have pushed a little more, and any tiny little tweaks that you might want to make moving forward for the next week of your training. And I think that this has been such a big unlock for me, because what I felt like I was doing with my training when I was coaching myself is that for so many years, especially with all these different things that I have going on in my life and just not feeling like I was giving running the time it deserved, is that I wasn't taking this time to reflect on a weekly basis for 15, 20 minutes to just look at my running log, really sit down and actually think about my workouts, think about how I felt. I was literally just day to day writing quick notes in my little running log, checking my run off the list and moving on to the next without kind of like processing what had happened the past week. So I think just having that time where you can dedicate, be honest with yourself or be honest with your coach if you work with a coach, and just talk about your training and see what you could do to improve and make yourself better for that next week of training. I think that has been so valuable for me. Okay, another thing that has been incredibly helpful working with my coach so far has been being reminded the importance of doing mobility, activation, drills, all that pre-post run stuff that we all tend to neglect as runners, but is so incredibly important in helping us maintain our form, maintain efficiency, and help keep injuries at bay. So doing exercises like pre-run form drills, activation routines, mobility, and then strides as well to just improve your efficiency as a runner is so helpful. So I can definitely post a video on all of that if you guys are interested in learning more. Okay, so my fourth takeaway so far in working with my coach has been to be incredibly flexible with your training plan. So I feel like in my self-coach days, I was kind of like I mentioned, just kind of checking off the boxes for all of my runs and just moving on to the next day and not adjusting significantly, partly because I was very harsh on myself, and I still am harsh on myself in many ways, but also because I just wasn't giving myself that mental processing time that I also talked about earlier. So being flexible with the training plan and just taking time to actually think about your workouts and what you're doing and how it fits into the bigger picture of things is very important, so that you don't overdo things, you don't burn yourself out, and that you can actually reap the most benefits of your runs. So I think that this has been helpful with a coach in particular, because I've been able to have a two-way communication about what's going on in my life, where I think I might need to make adjustments, and how I can either back off on certain training weeks or be open with him about, hey, I might want to do a little bit more mileage. Is that okay? And just understanding the rationale for yes or no. So being flexible with that training plan is so important. And I do have an entire video that I made about learning how to listen to your body. So make sure to check that out, linked above. But one of the main things that I talk about in that video is how you want to be adjusting your workouts, and you can adjust them before the workout. It's also totally okay to adjust your workouts on the fly. If you need to do a few less reps, that's totally fine. If you are feeling really good on an easy run and want to do a couple extra miles and it's not going to detract from a major workout, that's totally fine too. But getting that positive reinforcement from my coach and just knowing that it's okay to do that, it has been helpful for me too, to just pause and think about why I'm doing the training that I'm doing. Okay, so the final biggest takeaway that I have learned from working with my coach is that the most important thing is to make sure that you are having fun. And I feel like I talk about this so much in so many of my videos here on the channel, but it is really important. If you aren't having fun when you are marathon training, then what is even the point? And my coach often tells me that he wants my runs to be fun. He wants my training to be fun. If there's ever a point where things are not fun, he doesn't want me to do the workout. And pushing our bodies, it is fun. It is challenging. It's rewarding. But there's also a point where you can push yourself too much. And sometimes I've gotten into that territory, especially training here in the summer in Florida, where I feel like I've pushed my body way too much to the point where I was kind of like dreading runs a little bit in the summer. And you don't want to be in that zone. Like, you want to make sure that you are balancing all areas of your life, so that if you're at capacity with work or with family responsibilities or with anything else, and then you're trying to do your marathon training on top of it, and you have seriously difficult workouts. Like, that might not necessarily be fun. That might be an instance where you might want to adjust and pull things back and just have running be that outlet for these other areas. So, like an example for me most recently, where I had a conversation with my coach about, hey, like, I don't think that training is going to be fun for me this week, is when I was having a pretty stressful week with work. The next week, I was about to go travel to high altitude. And so, after a few days at altitude where I was really struggling to catch my breath, even on easy runs, I just told my coach, like, hey, I think that doing this very intense tempo workout is going to be very difficult for me while I'm here. And so, we were able to then adjust my plan, make sure that I was doing something that was fun while I was there. And I'm going to have an entire other video where I talk about what it was like training at altitude versus training in heat and humidity like I do here in Florida. So make sure to hit that bell button and subscribe to the channel if you aren't already so you don't miss that video. Okay, so that is it in terms of the content for today's video. If you are interested in following along for more of my marathon training journey, please make sure to subscribe to the channel. And if you'd also like to support the charity that I am partnering with for the 2026 Berlin Marathon, make sure to check out more info in the description down below. So thanks so much for being here, and I'll see you guys in my next video.